tonight. On February 18th, 10-year-old Braxton Smith died. Wednesday, his mother, father, and paternal grandmother were all arrested and charged with his murder.
Today, all three were present via Zoom in a Bangor courtroom, and some details of the incident were released. We do want to warn you that the details are disturbing. 33-year-old Joshua Smith, 35-year-old Jem Bean, and the child's paternal grandmother, 56-year-old Misty LaTourette, appeared before a judge in a Bangor courtroom. On February 18th, LaTourette and Bean took 10-year-old Braxton Smith to St. Joseph's Hospital, and he was later transferred to Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor after he told them he was not feeling well and later vomited multiple times, even en route to the hospital. According to the affidavit, the Bangor boy appeared to be malnourished and underweight for his age. He was 48 pounds, and according to the CDC growth chart, a male child his age in the lowest percentile would weigh 55 pounds. Documents state that medical personnel were concerned after discovering Braxton had bruises on his face and body. The affidavit also says the 10-year-old's vomit had an odor and appearance of pet food. Documents reveal that after medical staff took over life-saving measures, Bean said that the boy tended to throw himself on the ground when he had a, quote, temper tantrum, resulting in frequent bruising. Bean denied any physical or sexual abuse in the home, but later in the affidavit, it shows that a Bangor detective cleared the hospital and discovered that Braxton's head CT scan showed he was bleeding between his brain and skull. While being interviewed, Bean said Braxton was defiant and stubborn. It also says both of his parents used zip ties to restrain him to a chair almost daily if they needed to get things done, believing this measure would prevent him to, quote, get into things. The affidavit said while being interviewed, LaTourette said the boy sought attention and was defiant and suggested his parents withheld food as a means of punishment. And police recovered zip ties from the B Street home. LaTourette confirmed that she and Smith, quote, Gibbs slapped Braxton. And later, an undisclosed person confirmed Braxton ate dog food, ate out of the trash can, was tied up, and was hit in the head. A judge granted $300,000 cash bail for all three charged with the murder.
The affidavit also confirmed the boy had been homeschooled all his life, and that was handled by LaTourette and Bean.